What's up, Mango?
What's happening?
I like the emoji selection.
Yeah.
Very combat appropriate. Those are nice. What's up, Pat?
Hey, Pat.
Okay, so I guess first off, let's update our weekly position. We're on to open guard. And we've got our usual footage from this past Monday. So let's get started. And fresh off the blue belt promotions, Joe and Brandon. Congratulations to both of them.
Congrats, guys. Well deserved.
Starting us off front and center.
I'm drinking wine tonight.
What's up, Andrew?
Yep, blue belt.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Oh, hey, Andrew. How's it going? Justin, what's up?
I didn't realize.
Hey, Jordan.
I didn't realize how many people were waiting for me while I struggled on the side to get a timer on.
The line begins.
Look at a little sweep here, over the head grip that he really likes.
Mm-hmm. Pablo and Chris. Pablo's trying to let his arms go. He let his arms go across across Chris's body. Trying to snatch the head so that he can begin to pass the guard, and didn't score an underhook. He didn't really have any business even going for a pass.
Yeah, right there.
At this point.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, Pablo's one of our newer white belts, so he's right there in that struggle of dialing in the necessity of the underhook, especially in a lot of early passing. Brandon.
Spoiler alert is that it's always a necessity. There are very rare cases where it doesn't.
Look at Joe and Brandon here. Little battle for inside position with the feet. And then Brandon scooping the left leg, and Joe saying,
"Oh yeah,
let me see what I can do with his knee."
Brandon is staying on it. Inside heel hook.
Yeah, Joe. The only reason, I think the primary reason that knee bar didn't work is your left. You never fully spun the leg here, so like your left knee didn't make it all the way around to where his knee was kind of in your hip. Since he's holding your foot here, it's going to be hard to get your left leg to the position you want it to get to. A for effort, but then the switch that you make, I think it was a good idea. Switch it into 50-50, and then quick setup on the heel hook.
Yeah, very nice.
We all talked about it behind your back, and we didn't know how to tell you in person. So other Brandon that I'm rolling with, throwing up a good attack on the ankle here. He gets settled in, sets up the Irimiashi, and you can tell immediately I'm just peeling away the ankle. I've kind of turned my foot in behind him since I couldn't really boot. He had good enough position on my hips to where I couldn't boot through really well. But I just kind of took away the angle that he needs. You know, my toes behind his shoulder would be more beneficial to him. So while I fought, my hip position, I just kind of turned my foot to give myself a little bit of space to move around safely. Have a little Caleb and Josh here. Caleb just smothering from side control. And maybe you're... thought he was going for a wrist lock.
Wrist lock, maybe?
Hello, Cole. Good sweep, Joe.
And Danaher, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, good butterfly sweep. You have both butterfly hooks in there, Joe, which I'm sure you can tell makes it a little bit more difficult when you don't have that bottom leg to power off of. But it looked like you had Brandon a bit more committed over top of you, so you were able to get him moving enough. And the Katagatame. Meanwhile, let's see, we got Braden trying to throw on a mounted triangle.
Awesome.
What is going on? Good double leg. I like that you're trying to control the legs as long as you are, or as long as you can before securing the pass up top, just to make sure he doesn't, or trying to make sure he didn't get his knee in, but he managed to hook that one leg with his. You don't seem too worried about the head control. Y'all are in a mood tonight, man. Alright, Braden's putting to work some of the close guard stuff from last week.
Couldn't get the leg over.
No. Let's look at this one more time. So, yeah, hips are a little low here. Braden, like, just the spin around armbar is a little tough. If you're, you've got to kind of take your hips up a little bit higher. As you go to set this up from here, I would, let's see. How would I finish this? You got a good arm grip with the left arm. I would plant this hand actually on the other side of Steven and like take my head over in that direction. That way I'm putting more weight on the right side of my body, which makes my left leg much more light and mobile. And then that way, when you go to hit the step around, you can get to where you need to be. Yeah, I mean, you didn't even get the leg over. I think probably because you just had a little too much weight on that leg. And then Steven's ready for the leg configuration anyway.
And when Steven's not like on its side, you can't get to a modified mount. So what you would have to do is go into an S mount. So your right leg would have to like fold to the left. Like your foot would have to actually be going under Steven's shoulder, and pointing that direction. It would make it easier for you to start cutting the angle, and harder for Steven to clear his elbow line.
Meanwhile, Jason over here attacking legs.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, getting kicked in the head.
Getting kicked in the head.
So he's in an outside Ashigarami. Jordan rolling through. And they're off camera.
Uchimata from Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little bit. Didn't have to really send that one. Holy arm bars. Yeah, I feel like that's what there's the armbar from cross guard that everybody, or I'm sorry, from close guard that everybody learns probably first, and then the mounted armbar where everybody hits the nice quick, spin armbar that everybody loves because it's kind of flashy. But those spinning maneuvers, they're a little too quick for my taste. I mean, you can hit them on some lower belts for sure, but I like to control the arm as I'm going around it. Jordan with the takedown from the back.
Justin's in on that Kimura grip though.
Yep. He gets a sweep.
Able to sweep. Yeah.
The cheese standing alone. There he goes. Steven's setting up an Americana here. Yep. Yeah, and so this is this goes back to something I've talked about on some past streams. I think most people after or they learn the Americana, it works for them on some of their training partners early on who are also white belts. And then all of a sudden it really stops working, especially from like mount or side control. And it's because we often leave our opponent with the ability to reach their arm over to get their arm safe. The way around that is with a top shin pin or crucifix position, which is exactly what Steven's doing here. So the reason I think that this worked on Andrew, who normally has like pretty explosive capability to like turn, to safety or whatever, unfortunately you kind of give up your back when you do that here. But he's managed to kind of hamstring that movement by shin pinning with his right shin. He knows that, so he goes on the offense for the free arm, and now Andrew can't turn towards it to get it safe. So he's able to finish the Americana due to the shin pin. So when that starts not working for you guys against higher level opponents, try to work some sort of pinning into that. I prefer the shin pin. That should help. Did shin pin last week against this blue belt. He turned away from me. I extended arm. I was shocked. Well, that's how you get demoted to white belt,
That's how he knows to not do that again.
Yeah.
It's crazy how some people think that they can just like throw your entire body off of them with a fully extended arm. I mean, some people can, don't get me wrong, but most people can't.
Yeah. He told me after this was his fourth time this semester getting armbarred. Oh wow.
Wow.
I mean, whatever. Keep failing. Like that's the only way to really like learn how to defend it. Just I hope he's tapping early and not hurting his arm. It's
Yeah, right.
All kidding aside. Let's see. Got Pablo almost in a triangle here. He just about had one arm out. Let's see how he handles this.
He does.
Go ahead.
Oh. No, I mean, he has both arms in.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying really hard to keep his right arm in, which is good. That's a good instinct. Even from there, like
I think Brandon's getting there though.
he is. He's putting up a hell of a fight. Yeah, Pablo's in a tight spot right now, but his hand connection I think is what's saving him a little bit here. Let's see if he ends up getting out of this.
I don't want Brandon doing that. I mean, there are there are a few different ways. I don't want to say a bunch. There are a few effective ways to finish the triangle. Pulling your knees together and squeezing them, I've seen that work, and hell, it's been done to me, right? Like, it's definitely worked before. But I think that's a good way to tire your legs out.
Yeah. You're talking about like here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How he's trying to bring his knees together.
Yeah, his legs could like he could. One thing he's not doing here is cutting the angle that he needs, which should be to his left. He needs to be digging with his left arm under Pablo's right leg. And Pablo might, he might be making this difficult in one way or the other. I'm curious if Brandon didn't have faith in it yet because of that hand connection.
I think so.
Yeah.
If I had to venture a guess. The good takeaway from Brandon, though, is that he got there and that he was able to at least threaten with the submission and stay or get back into an advantage or an advantageous position. Now he's got the back.
Yeah, he transitioned well out of that.
What's up, Caleb?
I see Caleb
like
and
using the ground as your frame.
Using the ground as your frame. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Mago.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Meanwhile, Caleb punishing the new blue belt.
Yeah, what I'm talking about for finishing the triangle, if that's what you're referring to, is literally just taking, your both of your knees here, like if you're Brandon, which is the guy in the red up here by the pillar, and pulling your two knees together, rather than trying to scissor your legs and use the actual Sankaku, the triangle, to finish the strangle.
Yeah, like. Not sure what he's. It looks like I'm curious. Maybe his leg is getting tired, and that's why he's holding on with that hand assist. Okay. Maybe. Totally speculating here, because he's been here for a minute. So, in any case, if you see this, Brandon, we can tighten that up.
Mm-hmm.
As always, bring it up in class. Red shifted to. Oh yeah, I'm rolling up here with Kurt too. This was Kurt's first real official day back after his month's layoff from back surgery. So.
Oh yeah.
Welcome
Glad
back,
he's
buddy.
Back.
Yeah, I just leg locked him a bunch that night. He dug for a good outside heel hook on me. Now I get my initiation, blue belt initiation roll with Brandon. Which I admittedly try to take it to him a little bit. Something I always like to do when you guys get promoted is just my first roll with you. Just instill a deep sense of imposter syndrome and make you think, oh man, I shouldn't have been promoted. But that's really...
Yeah, why was I just promoted?
Exactly. And that's only because I feel that every time I get promoted.
Yep.
Got to keep the jiu-jitsu generational abuse going. Braden trying to get to a leg. Yeah, man, it's that is a shared experience. I think everybody who gets promoted is just like, man, am I really a blue belt? Now I got to compete against other blue belts at competition, or whatever the case is.
Yep.
Everyone, man.
When other white belts come into the school, I have to beat them.
Yeah.
So Pablo, I'm watching Pablo up here in the corner, and he's doing a fine job at scoring this underhook. You'll see him shoot in off the collar tie. I think it's off a collar tie, and he winds up shooting in for this underhook. I think on his right side, maybe. Let's see.
There it is.
Here, nice and deep, but then it's like he doesn't know what to do with it, right? And he's kind of just lingering there, and that's where we found him in the last roll. You know, that we kind of with the Uchimata, I think, from Chris and everything. He's doing a really good job at getting the underhook, but if you don't use your underhook, the other person has an overhook, right? Like, I've talked about this before in class, but like, you know, you define whether somebody has an underhook or an overhook based off of the power that they have or how active they are using it, because it's, you know, it's equal, right? And in this case, you've got a big, strong guy like Jason, and then you've got somebody smaller like Pablo. Pablo gets the positional advantage, but if he's not able to use that, you got a big, strong guy now that can bear down on your shoulder pretty heavy and start taking you down and imposing his will on you. Yeah. So you have to be very careful there.
Yeah, and Jason is his stand-up has improved a lot. I think over the last few months, I feel like we've seen him pulling some tricks out that he didn't have
standing
before.
More upright, totally right. His double legs have always been amazing, but yeah, he's been much more formidable with a standing, more upright position.
Did I tell you about the Sambo white belts that showed up to the lat? No, I don't think he did. Also, if they said they're Sambo kids and they have white belts on, I don't know if they know Sambo very well, because there's not traditionally a belt system, but I think like some Sambo federation tried to adopt one, and many holdouts, like I know Vlad Kulikov was like, no, I'm not adopting belts into Sambo. It's never been that way.
Caleb, I just read your comment. That I remember that like it was yesterday.
When we beat his ass before we promoted him.
Uh-huh.
That's the thing. Our school doesn't do, you know, the gauntlet where you got to walk through the line of people and get whipped with the belt. We don't do the big like hip toss and slam the guy down. We just kind of like congratulate you on your promotion with a higher intensity roll.
Oh, this for Caleb, we switched it up. We did it before he got promoted.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was like, let's kick his ass and then give him his belt. So I take it, Mango, the Sambo guys were actually better than they let on, judging by your comment. Worst roles I've ever been a part of. Are you talking about in my role with you, Brandon? Almost had me in a little trouble there for a second.
Shoulder crunch, sweet.
And for what it's worth, Brandon, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but hadn't you been sick recently, so you were still kind of getting back into the swing? So it's understandable if your gas tank was a little compromised.
All the upper pumps got me there. Yeah, that happens.
All right, what's Gavin up to on Steven here? Steven's just not letting anybody armbar him tonight. All right, going for the Kimura. Sweep to mount. Showed up to training for a tournament. One of the best people I've rolled with all summer. That's awesome, man. It's like it's like a free competition.
Totally.
Yeah, and even if they are actually like legitimately, you know, newbies in Sambo, if they've been training for any serious amount of time, they're like, Sambo's a great grappling art. Like I think a lot can be like borrowed or adopted into jiu-jitsu. Like their stand-up is really good. A little different than judo. I don't fully understand. Like I never did a deep dive on the rules of Sambo. Gavin was talking mad smack to me here. Said he's gonna cradle me, and I just like roll backwards out of it. But you did have a cradle on me for a second. But yeah, the thing to keep in mind with like taking stuff out of judo or Sambo or, you know, freestyle, folk style, Greco, anything like that, and bringing it into jiu-jitsu. Josh, what was that? Let's see.
You just hit the dummy sweep. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, beat him on it.
Nice. Jumps up. That's what I'll like. That's definitely worth noting here, and what I know me and you talk about a lot is following up. When you try to hit a sweep on somebody, follow it up, because you laying on your back isn't going to do shit for the sweep, right? Like you'll never score. You know, you may and I'll change my words. If you're going to be going into leg entanglements and you stay on your back, that's totally acceptable and fine. But here, this is what we want to see. You hit a sweep, you immediately threaten to get up and get on top.
Yeah, the sweep isn't over until you take top positions.
Yes.
But I always beat
What's up,
you
James?
guys. What's going on, James? Mango, that makes more sense. I know what you mean now. What was I saying? Oh, one other thing to point out here. With this double ankle sweep, the reason Steven actually gets caught in this, and I know Danny was the first one that I can remember to start doing this, rather than pushing with his hamstrings on top of your quads and trying to push you back, which just leads to the knee pinch that we talk about. You know, when Steven gets put on his butt, if Josh's legs are on the inside position, Steven from outside position, one of the rare times we talk about benefits from outside position, Steven can clamp his own knees together, kind of bear trap Josh's legs, and then work to either leg entanglements or passes. But Josh fully extracts his legs and puts his feet on Steven's hips, and that allows him to get a more serious push without the threat of the knee pinch. What you're giving up when you do that, the trade-off here is if you use the original position with the hamstrings over their quads and you come up on top, you're automatically in mount. Now you're giving up the opportunity for mount for only a sweep. Not necessarily a bad trade-off especially if you win the scramble here, which Josh does briefly. But that's you give up the opportunity for mount. That's the trade-off with the leg position. Back to my original thought, you know, when borrowing a lot of stand-up techniques from these other grappling arts, you just have to keep in mind that the rule sets are super different. Oh, Caleb and I were trying to twinsy compression choke Jordan and Gavin at the same time. We were laughing about it when we were doing it. You know, if I'm gonna like arm throw somebody or say Onagi out of judo, I'm completely giving up my back when I do that. Totally exposing my back. If it fails, I'm in some trouble. So adopting that has some risks in jiu-jitsu because I give up my back in points, whereas in judo, if it fails after a few seconds, they just stand you back up. So all that to say, I still like Sambo and some of the stuff I see those guys do. We should like find some tournaments and watch them, or competitions rather.
For Sambo?
Yeah. They also made combat Sambo possibly before like Eddie Bravo started doing combat jiu-jitsu. Like they added striking into it because it used to just be purely grappling, or it still is. Sambo is just grappling, but combat Sambo was I think I might be wrong, but I think it was a recent innovation. Who's cold smashing?
Andrew, I think.
Gavin trying to come up to omoplata. Switching back. Oh yeah, Gavin had like some really great transitions through this round. This may have been. Yeah, he. Let's give him his full credit here. So he goes from my back to, as I escape, switching to an armbar threat, a hitchhike, then he goes on the omoplata. As I roll, he keeps connected here. He has to adjust his feet. So he goes back to, this was like I don't know if you caught that, a weird little kind of strangle here with this like grip. It wasn't especially threatening, but I was like, I don't think anybody's done that to me before. But then he switches up right into like a triangle armbar threat.
That was great hip movement.
Yeah, that was really, really important for that. And then gets the triangle finish. How did Cole and Andrew end? Cole working to a very high mount here with that one arm isolated. Looks like he's just putting some straight arm pressure. Maybe a scissor on the neck.
I don't know. Yeah.
Let's see, we got Jason trying to pass Chris's guard too. And opting to, this is interesting. So Jason and Chris. Chris has, we've talked about it here. Chris has a really good guard. And Jason doesn't get around the knee shield, instead opts to use the threat of a submission. And honestly, I like this this approach, because most guys are going to kick their leg straight when you try to throw on a straight a toe hold. So it gets the knee shield out of the way for you by threatening to break the ankle. I think it didn't work out just because Jason took a little bit too long here to get to a good mechanical, like strong mechanical position. His hand's a little low. His elbow here is pretty far from the ankle. I think if you tightened that up, it would set on way faster, and it would get the right reaction that he wanted out of Chris. But now Chris feels okay. There's not much of a threat there, so he can come up to top position. And now he's trying to pass from half guard, already past the knee shield. Big ankle pick on Gavin. Let's see that one more time just for funsies. Looks like Josh was looking for the shoulder crunch there. Couldn't quite get it in time. Look away for 1 second. Chris passes the guard. Jason almost gets his knee shield back in. Oh yeah, I see. You're right. Yeah. So he knee cuts and then goes to quickly sets up his own shin pin.
Mm-hmm.
Nice climb to mount. Good steady work.
What's up, Zane? Cool, we'll see you then.
Lost your rash guard. Whatever, man. Grab a shirt. Get to class. It's all good.
Yeah, t-shirts are fine.
Gavin with the last second heel hook on me. That's right.
If you're threatening with a submission to get around, you wind up going straight into north-south.
What did I do? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Chris, I don't like, I feel like I'm doing this a little too much against him, which I don't like to do the same stuff over and over again when I'm rolling with you guys, but he brings his knees in real tight, and while it prevents me from passing the guard, it just puts everything right in front of me. So I got his arm, I got his head,
Yep.
the perfect recipe for a Darce, right? So I lay on either a guillotine threat or a Darce threat or something, and then I use that to end up getting around the legs. And then because his legs are so damn annoying, I opt to get up to north-south to try to prevent them from coming back into the picture, which I don't think he wastes much time doing anyway. Yeah. Good leg position with his heel above his knee, brings his leg right in, reestablishes guard. See what these two get into. Not a very effective grab on the single leg, Caleb, obviously. It's hard to say
You have to be
what's...
very careful grabbing the inside of the leg like that with just that arm, especially if you commit and go to like elbow deep, because there's crucifix danger here. If you get snapped down, which you wind up coming down here, if Joe pulls his right leg back fast enough, your right arm is his, trapped by his legs.
Nicky Rod style. Fortunately, no one in our school does that. I don't think we'd even allow it, but
We don't train shirtless either.
I did one time because I, like Zane, forgot my rash guard, and I made it all the way to class. I'm like, I'm here. I don't care. You guys are going to deal with it. Never again.
Now we
Yesterday,
got the knee-bar shootout.
the what? Oh, with these
The
two.
knee-bar shootout. Who's gonna get it?
Zane, yesterday we did some, we just did like some self-defense stuff as a refresher, and then we're on to our open guard week, so it was all stuff around that. I don't recall exactly what we went over on Monday. Sorry, I want to see this leg lock shootout again. So Joe's in on the toe hold. Shut you off for a second.
Yeah.
And Caleb's trying to control the end of the foot, I think, in an effort to maybe prevent or slow down some rolling. Now Caleb switches to a toe hold. Now Joe's on a toe hold.
Caleb recognizes danger and wants to get out, so he actually does a really good job. Like, it may be a nuance. I don't know. Those who aren't, like ingrained in the leg lock game, but the way that Caleb pummeled out of that, he essentially clears his own knee line. Watch what he does with his right leg. He takes his right leg out and over, and then he winds up getting both of his legs in between Joe's legs. So he's going to pull his right leg all the way back here, And then now he's clear of Joe's right leg. The right leg of Joe is where the danger was, not the left leg, right? And the reason is because the right leg is back healing and starting to lock down the hips so that he can actually create some torque on this toe hold. So Caleb does a really good job of recognizing the danger, but also figuring out which leg needs to get disentangled. A lot of people would freak out and say, oh shit, I got to get rid of my left leg. My left leg is the one that's in danger, therefore I need to clear it. But it's actually the other leg that winds up being what saves Caleb here.
Yes, Open Guard is also next week. And Open Guard, keep in mind, Open Guard refers to a lot of stuff. You know, anytime the legs are not in a closed loop around your opponent, but they are between you and your opponent, it's Open Guard. So things like seated guard, supine guard, like when you're on your back, against a kneeling or a standing opponent or a sitting opponent. De La Riva, reverse De La Riva, X guard, you know, things like that all kind of fall under the broad umbrella of Open Guard. Trying that sit out. That's we're getting there, Caleb. The thing with this one is you end up going right to your back. Now it gets Joe's grip off of you and allows you to get a sweep. I mean, I'm not mad with the result. Sorry, I'm trying to catch the right frame. Next thing I want you to try with this is this foot should be coming through and sitting. Like, your left hip needs to be going to the ground, not flat to your back, right? Again, either way, you got Joe moving and it gave you enough space to get a frame in and push him up, so that was good. You just give up a little bit of your mobility when you get to your back, and you kind of have to scramble up a little bit more effectively. Yeah, absolutely good after the scramble.
Yeah, he actually. So Luke actually said it. That's right. He sat out to the wrong side. You want to go to the side where Joe has the overhook on your arm, not on the side with your neck. That gives you also a lot more throwing power, right? That's gonna. Yeah, so he actually wants to sit to that side. Exactly. That's where his right leg needs to shoot through. His right elbow needs to go down to the mat. His left elbow needs to shoot up towards the ceiling,
right,
and shuck him off.
Yep.
Yep.
Chance breaking the grip. You elbow with the other arm. That's not posting. Yeah, you're like trying to elbow the sky.
Yep.
Meanwhile, what's Mitchell doing over here? Let's look at Mitchell. He's got Jordan's back. Looks like Jordan gets himself safe by the hips. Mitchell reverts to mount. I think Jordan starts giving him some trouble here with leg position. Looking over here. Curious. Mitchell's got a pretty deep underhook on the right side. Okay, so I guess since he's going for the Americana, he opted to go back to cross side. What did these two jabronis finish with? Caleb with the compression.
And you passed again with the Darce threat.
Yeah, that was what I was saying. I felt like doing that too much. There was one earlier where I like shoved by his leg. I think it was, yeah, it's right here. Kind of loaded up on his leg, and I just give a little push on the knee, kick my leg out of the way, and then quickly settle in to the side. And that was enough to get past that time. But that was more from like a bit of a floating position. Not fully floating, because I still had like my feet on the ground, but heavy hip pressure into his leg. He's pushing back against me, so just get out of the way really quickly and shove by. Might fall under like Toriando style.
I think that is a Toriando. Yeah, I would classify it as that. Yeah, so here again, Caleb, you're in the same position. Against Joe, I would recommend doing what Luke does against strong guys, posting up either in a 4-point stance or getting up to your hands, and then shooting out. Honestly, the same way, right? So your right hip would shoot through towards us, and shoot that left elbow to the sky.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this on the last stream. It was either on stream or in class. This is where you kind of develop a feel, and Luke might be able to speak to this more, but like you develop a feel for when the time to go is. Right now, Joe's knees are off the mat, which means most of his pressure is forward into your back, which is ripe for a sit out.
Yep.
If Joe was kneeling down like he was just a few seconds ago, you could still get a sit out. I mean, Luke's probably thrown me doing that plenty of times, but you're not going to get the same effect as when they're leaning all their weight into you and all of a sudden you're not there anymore. So now when you notice that, that's a good time to do it. More along the lines of what Luke was saying, with this tight elbow position here, almost like how you like to set up your Maki Komi, which this is not the time to do it because his hips are in front of you, not behind you. This isn't helping you out. So when you go back and revisit this as far as that underhook and the right way to go out, keep that in mind. I like what you were saying, Mike, about 4-pointing up and working from there. Good control of that bottom leg, Caleb. That's keeping Joe from getting his hips up right now. Let's see. I don't know if I would have locked it up with my leg though. There's probably some fancy Berimbolo BS there that I don't know.
And then Joe, I would say for you on this one, the go behinds would be what we would be focused on, right? Like, I mean, or just the front headlock position in general. Going for guillotines, whether that's the standard, arm in, whatever, or just going over for straight for a go behind and trying to take the back.
Yeah, I think Caleb's going to make us all a lot better at turtle breakdowns.
Yeah.
I'll probably be revisiting those myself. I didn't even see Sean sneak in that night.
This is the first role I've seen him in.
Yeah, he was there.
We can skip this
on the weekend or something. I feel that way about every round with Caleb. I'd rather just skip it. Good instinct, Joe, getting to the cross side under that threat of a headlock or a guillotine. So now I'm curious if Pablo realizes he's in a little bit of trouble yet, or if he might just be straining, thinking he could still pull, yeah.
Because he's got the arm in, so he doesn't have any sort of strangle threat on him, Mm-hmm. Now he could.
Yeah, we'll have to pull Pablo aside next time. Give him a lesson on why you don't do that.
I really like what Sean just did in order to reverse that position and get up. It's coming up here, establishes a shoulder crunch, but then I don't think he gets what he wants here, but he does a forward shift. Oh no, he didn't do a forward shift. He just threw his arm over and then got Chris thinking a little bit, right? And so Chris kind of sat back, and then Sean takes advantage of that and just gets up. And I think that's great. That's 2 points in the tournament right there. That's a sweep.
What did Caleb do? See, Caleb works to kind of an S mount position. Okay. Oh, and Braden. What did Braden get on me? Oh, Braden's been, I think ever since you showed Anacondas, man, he's been really, really into those.
Good.
So he sets up a really good grip.
Yes.
My one tip to him here was as soon as he captured my leg, I didn't feel him cinching, or I'm sorry, as soon as his legs captured my arm, I didn't feel him cinching up the grip further. So just for anybody playing around with these right now, when you get your rear naked choke, bicep grip, and you reach up and grab the trapped arm with the legs like he just did, right here, the whole reason you do that is to make it easier to cinch that grip up. So immediately adjust your grip, grab it a little bit tighter, grab grab further around your arm with your strangle arm to cinch that up, and then put the squeeze on. So that was really the only criticism I had on that move from him. That's right there. I'm saying tighten it up, and then you can get the finish much better. Yeah.
Nice. Good execution. Like Sean is in on a Darce.
I bet he's got a mean Darce. I think he gets it. Yeah.
Yep, you got it.
I didn't see him set it up.
He goes off the guard pass.
Okay, there you go. Chris will be hopefully looking out for those a little bit more. What was that?
That was a very nice Sumigashi is what that was.
So this was almost like your it's almost like the reverse, like the shoulder crunch sweep where you hit the reverse collar tie and flip them over, except you didn't have the shoulder crunch, but that he had the reverse collar tie here, tucks the head, and then kind of a Tomonagi.
He gives him a nice little push with that left arm too.
Yeah. Nice. Got to get that hook out from across the body. There it is. And now you got to dig on the right side. For the triangle attacks we've seen Pablo deal with. Okay, that one got him. He has seemed fairly comfortable, which I mean, kind of a good thing. Like he's not panicking. I like that he's instinctively trying to keep both arms in more than anything. So we could just, I think maybe, I know I still want to see him working on positional escapes just because of, he's fairly new. But submission escapes are also an important thing to add into your defensive arsenal early on. So maybe giving him a few triangle escape pointers would be good for his progress.
So we're on open guard. I admittedly haven't been to any classes since we started this, but Joe just kind of exemplified what we tend to look for from an open guard. So if we go back to Pablo's going to engage, but look where Joe keeps his arms and hands, right? These are all in the inside position, right? So his feet are in between Pablo's feet. His hands are constantly trying to make grips and trying to gain access to, I'll say, underneath Pablo, right? He's trying to sweep his arms away and get his body over, or Pablo's body over top of Joe in some way. And this is exactly what we talk about when we talk about inside position, and you can just see where this leads to in this exchange.
Yeah, control with the butterflies, and that's like I think we saw Cole sweeping that way last week, and plenty of other times, but that double butterfly hook and the double overhooks. Let's watch Justin, because Caleb's making fun of him here, and I didn't see it before we went forward too far. Justin's like, I think I can do this. Nah, you gotta move that dump truck a little bit more on Caleb to get that move. It's like when I try my reverse De La Hiva sweep on him. He just taunts me. He's like, "Go ahead, stand up, take it," and he just plants his body weight on the leg that I'm trying to pull out, and I just end up popping my own knee, which literally happened the other day. Trying to hit the rolling Kimura on Braden for once. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, Braden, if you're playing seated versus standing, anytime someone's towering over you like this is where we see Steven taking the back a lot. So this isn't a great spot as it is for Braden. I would immediately try to dive into like X guard or something.
Or just straight up like single leg Ashi, right? Like single leg X or Ashi is
for sure.
Right there. Grab the knees, pull yourself underneath, shoot in for the leg, pop him down to the butt, finish. Right?
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, I think big point. Don't wait too long here, Braden, before you make a bigger move. This is just, you're a little too vulnerable here. I would say enter into the legs. I mean, how long did you just sit there with like your legs inside my ankles? You know, you had a good leg position. Take advantage of it a little sooner. I mean, I feel like if the roles were reversed there, Braden would have been diving over me or shoving my head back or something. He would have been much more aggressive than I was being. Kurt, you did that to Kurt. His back is broken, dude. Can't believe you. We refuse to tap.
I like the anaconda roll, Justin. That was nice.
I missed it. Oh, ran out of time. Okay. Mitchell came at me with fire in his eyes.
With resting Mitch face.
That's right. He needs to get back in the chat.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's been. Try to flatten out midway through. Everybody was cheering for Mitch here. Tell him to take me down. It really hurt my feelings. That was just a little Sesai, I think. Sesai Surikomi Ashi, something like that. which I really like, and maybe this would be a good one for Pablo to play around with too, since we saw him diving in on those underhooks pretty
Yeah.
effectively. Anytime I get underhooks on some of my bigger training partners, I'm not gonna break you guys down very well. You know, I'm against Caleb. I'm not gonna break your posture. Luke, I'm not breaking posture. But what I can do is initiate some rotation, and once I get that, I block the foot, and while you keep trying to rotate, you no longer can step, and I can get a trip out of it, and then put you down. I don't know about the rest of you, but I also find that I think Mitch has really taken an affinity to practicing leg locks, which I'm happy to see. Even at white belt, it's cool to see him taking an interest in it. I want to point this out for Brandon against Justin here. Brandon's looking to pass. Justin's making it real difficult, so Brandon opts to force his way to half guard. He may have been able to, like, you know, do a quick knee cut pass or something there, but I'm curious if this was intentional on his part as a passing strategy. But he's working well. He's got the underhook. He's trying to put in some. Well, I hope he's trying to put in some chest pressure, flatten out Justin here. Doesn't look like it. I'm not sure what he's doing with his head position. Didn't work though, whatever it was. And Justin's basically working a knee lever here. Doesn't do the full, you know, step on the foot, like where you plant your foot outside the knee. I'd like Justin, if you know, just keep this in mind. I know you know the move, but plant this foot right outside the knee, step on it with this foot, and then you don't need to. If you do that, you just point your knees this way. That will prevent you from having to step out with that right leg, which kind of gives Brandon an opportunity to disengage. He doesn't do it here, so it works out well for you. But that's prime knee lever opportunity. Anytime I'm losing the underhook battle, or I'm sorry, the half guard battle, where I'm flat on my back, I have an underhook, they're cross facing me either with their arm or their head. In this case, Brandon's using his head. That's when I start looking for the knee lever. Yeah, it's funny, man. I that might be one of the moves that I forget about the most as well. I think that might be because a lot of us are pretty good about working from bottom half, like not getting flattened out there. You know, we may transition out of that before we ever get put there to practice it. But yeah, it's always a good one to pull out. And remember that even if it fails, like if they take their underhook out and base out, that's an opportunity for you to get a frame in on their shoulder. So where the knee lever fails as a sweep, because it is pretty easy to shut down, it opens up space for you to take over and then start winning your, you know, start getting your guard back, working towards sweeps and submissions and whatever else. So Mitch's elbow is out at this point. He's pretty safe. And now he's throwing in a nice deep, or trying to reap. He doesn't have my ankle under control, so there was no real reap there. But doing his best to throw a leg over and get to cross Ashi. James, I don't know if you're still watching. You're gonna be back soon, right? You only got a couple more weeks.
Beginning of March.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's right around the corner. Oh, we got Cole in 50-50 with Kurt here on the side. Should be back at class on the 4th. Excellent. What, you don't believe him, Cole? I guess Kurt and Cole are working through 50-50 outcomes. Meanwhile, Sean and Jordan, Steven and Chris. How did Steven get around Chris's guard? I'm curious. Steven opting to use a body lock pass in this case. So open hands right now, but manages to step over the knees. Or the single knee.
Yeah, but he does a hip switch.
Mm-hmm.
He switches and basically knees Chris's knees out of the way with his left knee with his switch.
Yep.
Boom. I really like that.
Bro, stop.
I know.
Quit coughing.
I'm not sick, you're sick.
You're sick, dude. You got me sick, probably. Even though I'm almost not sick and you still are.
Yeah, you're facing 0.
Steven transitioning to the back. Sean trying to do the same. Coming up to the end. Oh god, Caleb trying to railroad me. I think I've said this to Caleb already in person, but his stand-up forward aggression is much more along the lines of what I want to see from him compared to where it was, you know, even just a few weeks ago.
Nice.
Yeah, what'd I do?
Koji.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that in slow-mo, because that's probably the best thing I do to him this round. Little sweep. Fun. Yeah. Then I'd probably just get too overzealous to give him a Makikomi at some point. Let's see him exercising his sit-outs. I feel like he hit one on me. So this time he goes to the side that you and Luke were saying.
Actually,
no, he
you
doesn't.
don't have him over.
Exactly. Yeah, I've got just the guillotine on. Which, in this case, this is where you would utilize. I've talked about it here. It's called an Uti Geishi. It's just another variation of a sit out. But I would like, since Caleb is going to his left, my right, I would like his left arm posting on the back of my elbow, keeping my arm there, and then sitting this leg through quickly and turning his body this way. Most arrows I've ever drawn at one time. That's going to get him putting me under Kimura pressure while he sits out from underneath me and then can scramble to the top position. He would do this because, like Mike just said, I don't have like the underhook, right? I guess that's what you'd call it from here. Both of my arms are in front of his shoulders. I don't have one behind his shoulder. So sitting out like that doesn't lead to much. He can't get me off balance quite as well. But if he traps my arm and does an Uti Geishi, he can get a similar effect to a sit out.
Yes, and now, yeah, again went to the wrong side. Caleb. We'll work on it.
Oh, well, even with that hand post, like, I don't see him getting as much. Like, I'm not committed on that grip, like
Yeah.
with a deep underhook. So it's just going to be a matter of dealing with some of the different arm configurations.
You also have to consider, Caleb, that when somebody's legs are still that close to you, when they get up into that front headlock, you can always shoot on them. Like, a shot is a viable option if you got long arms, right? Matt is still standing relatively upright. His left leg is actually very close to your right arm. You have an opportunity to double leg, and that's something that Luke runs the double threat of constantly on me when I get into this front headlock position. Is I know I'm looking for the sit out, so I wind up kind of posturing up into him, and when I do that, he can double leg me and put me down to the mat again. So you can also consider that as another threat.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also made me think, just circling out, like rather than staying here, even if you like fainted to like try to grab a single on me with the near leg, circling out in that direction might get me, or it might get your opponent to disengage, and you guys can start from neutral again. I'm curious, while I'm thinking about it actually, if from here, if Caleb like tried to move backwards and baited me to move forward and like stay connected to him, and then quickly did a little misdirection and then shot forward on me. Since his hands are on the mat, it's not like in the double where you pull the shoulders over you as you lower your level. He can't pull me right now, but if he can get me moving towards him by initiating backwards movement, I wonder if that'd be a viable option. That would that'd be a fun one to play with.
It would be, because for a snap down, you have to think, for a snap, you can't really snap down just with the head. I mean, you could, but you really don't have a whole, like, the handles that you need. So you generally, for a snap down, either need both hands on the, on the triceps, on the, the outsides of the arms, or cupping the chin, inside arm, whichever grip variation you want. And that leads to a very heavy snap.
Yeah.
Here, you're not really in snap position. You're in front headlock, like to where you can threaten the strangle. So I see this personally as Caleb could just try to, like, here, that's the snap position. You have to be wary of that.
I tried it there too. Like, for once that you see me right here, I try to snap him and I'm like, his hands are planted.
Yeah. But once you transition to that front headlock position, honestly, my right hand would be coming over top of the shoulder, and I would be standing up, to try and break your posture down and get back to that neutral position. This has always been an interesting position for me, especially in jiu-jitsu, because it's like you kind of have the back, but you don't. Yeah. Now you do, or now you have more of a threat. But like with that kind of like side saddle position, it's an awkward position.
Yeah, you have to completely shut down their rotation at the shoulders. And this is where it gets bad for me.
That's why I don't go for front headlocks on him.
Yeah.
Guillotines, anacondas, I haven't been able to successfully hit them without getting put on my back.
Meanwhile, good sprawl, Josh. What?
He said he misses when I used to do it. I used to like try every roll to try and get him into an anaconda, and then I'd wind up getting put on my back and suffering for the rest of the round.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting to the point, like that same point too. It's like I really just need to focus on breaking down his turtle position and getting him, on his side or on his back again, and then controlling from there. I know what I'm going to do from now on, and I'm not going to say it. Just kind of clicked for me. Josh's been very active on this roll.
He has. He got a little overzealous on that back take. Joe's back was flat on the mat here, Josh. That's the reason why this didn't work. So you did a really good job of trying to get that left knee up as high as you possibly could. But I'm willing to bet that Joe was able to, get his shoulder back down to the mat. I don't want to speculate on what else you in the event that this happens. It's very difficult to describe at this angle, but in the event that happens, you have what's called a lat juji or a lat armbar. When somebody starts to rotate down, what they do is they throw their arm out like this, and that puts your arm on the outside of their arm, like on the front side, basically. I can show you Thursday. I'll be there Thursday, and so you could threaten with a submission there instead of trying to take the back.
Yeah, if you do find yourself really, really keen on taking the back here, just remember, like, this knee needs to be right up, like, underneath, almost like directly behind Joe's head. And since you've lost the angle here, you really need to take the time to, like, pull his head and shoulders over your lap as you cut your angle. Like, it's not going to be as easy as, the standard chair sit where Joe's on his side and you can just make a quick sit and a roll to your other side. You really have to, like, gather everything up here to even have a fighting chance at taking that position. Or you can play with, like, a seated, like, what is it? It's like a seated, reverse top lock, seated head and arm position, which I don't think you've done too much of. I don't think we've covered that a lot with you, so I would expect
reverse. Yeah.
Oh, Caleb about breaks my knee with his takedown again.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that looks eerily familiar.
Yeah, Caleb, you jerk. Let's get it in slow-mo just to make him feel bad.
Yep. That's it. That's exactly.
Yeah, and in all honesty, it wasn't bad. Like, my knee wasn't in a bad spot. My message to Caleb, though, after we talked about it at class, and for anybody else who plays around with this takedown, keep your opponent moving forward. Try to get him to pressure backwards towards you before you hit that. And then, at least in the training room, be mindful of this one. Like, if you throw your hips into it, you don't want to throw it into the knee. You don't want to sit on their foot. If they're pushing backwards into you and you bait it correctly, you can just sit straight down. So you'll see Caleb kind of turns the corner here, which is, whatever. Do this in competition. Do it in the street if you want. I don't give a shit. But as you go to hit this move, bring your hips down vertically just to avoid, like, sitting into the back of the leg, which can cause some injury. We also see, I know Gavin and Braden really like a variation of this where they actually they kick this leg out and they kick this leg back. So they kind of, like, it's almost like they drop to the knee with, in this case, their right leg while they kick their other leg out forward. And I think that really probably just promotes the exact same thing I'm saying, like just dropping the hip straight down as opposed to swinging them in underneath your opponent. But in competition, go ahead and swing them things on in. Can't make that leg curious. Let's see. What's Justin up to over here? Oh yeah, Justin like looks at it. He's like, I think I can do this. Let me see. Let me just take a little look here.
You gotta dive over your left shoulder.
Yeah, this is, in all fairness, Justin, this is one of those moves that definitely took me, like, I had to think about it for the longest time, how to get to it.
I have better luck with it if I can triangle my legs, Justin, rather than having my legs disconnected. Worst, or the only other way that I can do it is if I put my feet together. Like I put my, in this case, I think your right foot over top of your left foot, and continue to push all the way. That's why I like the triangle, is because it creates the tension the entire time.
Yeah. It's I think more effective when you have that triangle or your feet together in the stomping your feet down, which Justin, I don't think you're doing at the end there, which is probably why it's fizzling out. You either hit that roll and then wanted to stop halfway, where you started attacking calf slicers and whatever, which is fine. If you're trying to use it as a back take, stomp your feet into the ground. Okay, all right, I got you. Fair enough. And then, in that case, yeah, you have your calf slicer, your banana split. Definitely a twister if you're going with Kurt. Hit them all day, every day.
Pipe.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what it is. Yeah.
So yeah, you can see here I'm just like thinking about all the different ways I could try to play around in Caleb's turtle position without getting Maki Komi'd or whatever else, dealing with a 4-point position. But now, like I said, I have a good idea that I want to play with now. Brandon and Jordan. Brandon missing a good opportunity there. Jordan's legs are close together, even though they're in inside position. Good job, Jordan. Your legs are a little close. Brandon could come up on an easy double there if he wasn't gripping on the head. So be careful with that. Sit into guard. And Kurt and Joe are getting after it in the back there. I just want to see what they're doing. So Joe pulls. Nice little Tomonagi there. Trying to knee cut through, but Cole's doing a really good job framing the hips, keeping that knee elbow connection.
Yes, that's what he said.
Yeah, twister Kurt. Yeah, Kurt called me out for a second roll. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna attack the shit out of your legs the whole time.
You said Joe and Kurt.
Oh, my bad.
Instead of Cole.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
I
knew.
Kurt and Cole have similar builds.
I was gonna say the same thing.
So let me see how my sit out does against Kurt. So that's what we're talking about, Caleb, with the underhook. So where Kurt has his underhook, or his arm behind my arm, you can see I'm sitting out to that side, elbowing up really high to get Kurt off of me. And I think let's see. Okay, yeah, I turned to the standard direction. I just kind of like lost my balance a bit. And even that, I wouldn't say it was a picture perfect sit out. Like, I don't think my hips did what they should have done there. But that was the only example I think I saw of the arm position we were discussing earlier. Joe trying to spin the knee again. Joe, you really like doing this, and I'm not opposed to it. I can't remember if it was you we talked about this to forever ago. Or no, it was Steven, but I think this applies too. We talked to Steven a long, long time ago on the stream about really slowing down with guard passing. Like, stop trying to hop around, really emphasize control over the legs and all that stuff. I want to say the same thing to you here with this spinning the leg into cross ashi or even reverse ashi. Like, it seems like you've really enjoyed playing with. I want to see your right arm underhooking, taking a scoop grip on Cole's leg. Take the time to hook his leg. Take the time to get your shin to where it is, across Cole's belly. Put slow, deliberate pressure on. I don't care if Cole knows where you're going. Slowly work your way around that leg. Because when you do this quickly, you're never getting your in this case, your left leg all the way around, and it needs to be all the way around. I don't care if you don't go all the way to cross ashi. I just want you to make sure that your left leg isn't pinned against Cole's stomach. It needs to be extracted, and you either face the corner in this case if you want to stop at reverse ashi, or continue turning and face the line if you want to go to cross ashi. But that needs to happen for this move to work for you. And I've just seen you failing at that one purely because of that leg position. It's where someone's born 1700 the way he kills it. Yeah, he's part of the French Revolution for sure. Yeah, Hudson's five finger completely reopened the five-finger guillotine for me as a viable option.
Yeah, totally.
Shut up, Cole. Cole looks like got the Katagatame. Look at him showboat. So Cole's laying on a heavy smother pressure, which Joe is addressing with his right arm kind of elevated, and then Cole uses that as the opportunity to capture the right arm and set in the strangle. A little sweep from Sean.
Good tripod.
So Jordan, okay, good. That was great. I was just about to say, when someone's leg is bugging you like that as you're trying to pass the guard, a great thing to do is circle around behind them and get their knees pointed away. And before I could even say it, it looked like you were starting to work that. Brandon manages to frame your hips here, which helps him get his guard back. But looks like you got the right idea. Now you're working from half guard, chest to chest. I'd like to see you establish an underhook with your right arm.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Brandon, I mean, don't take that arm back in, man. Establish your own underhook. And I'd like to see Brandon using this ankle to capture Jordan's ankle. Try to get a little bit of a lever action going on the shin and knee. He's trying real hard to hit a Hantai Senkaku on a Kurt. Couldn't quite get it though. Jordan almost getting past with the threat of the guillotine.
Sean had a really good transition on Josh here from the back into the Katagatame. So he goes into this crab hook, tries to go to a high ball ride. Josh goes to escape and leaves his left arm behind. And Sean notices that, uses his head as a wedge, and then comes in to immediately dismount and get to that arm triangle. That was nice.
Very nice. I know Luke loves that transition too.
Yep.
Joe, your sweeps are looking solid, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just gotta control top position from there, and you know, not to blow smoke up Cole's ass here, but a little bit. I don't know what that was. A little bit more difficult with him. Oh, Cole was trying to sweep you. Okay, I was like, why are your legs up in the air?
That was pretty slick, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean just went ahead and tried to snap Cole down. Didn't even give him a chance to initiate the roll. He just grabs his head. Cole's like, what the hell?
So remember the I think the competition from November where I just had the one guy and we we shake hands when the ref tells us to shake hands, then he says fight and he goes to slap hands, fist bump again, and I like grab his wrist like to get wrist control. Like, oh yeah, my bad. Thought we already shook hands, but okay. What happened with Joe and Josh?
Leg entrance by Josh, but he's leaving his leg behind into the knee bar.
Josh, let's see that free leg. So I think a little bit earlier, Josh, and this gets a little sketchy because I don't want this to be habit, because in competition this would get you in trouble. But I would love to see this right leg going in front of Joe, like going around the leg in front, reaping, to break Joe's knee down to the mat. Again, you know, you'd probably get stopped if you did that in a competition, but that would break Joe down and may disrupt his toe hold or his knee bar that he was setting up there.
Yeah, when you shoot into that position, Josh, that left leg has to be in between Joe's legs. The only other position that it can be on is the same side as the leg that you have going around the hip. So in this case, if you're attacking Joe's left leg, your right leg is in a great position. Your left leg needs to be in between his legs, with your knee posted up into the Arimi Ashigarami position, to the standard Ashigarami. If you can't get that for whatever reason, your left leg needs to be over towards us, on the outside of Joe's left leg. That would keep both of your feet in safety, or they'd keep them safe, and then that would put Joe's left leg in full danger.
I'm trying to think if, since I have a feeling Josh doesn't have much control over his left foot right now, Joe's gonna decide where it goes.
My cure for this position, and I think all of you can attest for this, what I like to do from this position is completely kick my left leg out and away. So Joe's got my foot in the toe hold or whatever. I'm going to be extending my leg anyway to try and get out of the toe hold. So I'm going to do my damnedest to try and get my left leg kicked out straight, and then I'm gonna swing it out and around, and I'm gonna grab with the back of my heel. I'm gonna put it towards Joe's butt cheek, and I'm gonna go straight to an outside ashi position, straight ashi position.
Yeah.
But you really have to commit to that movement. And if you have questions, again, I'll be there Thursday, and I can go over that with you.
Good sprawl, Josh. A good knee cut from Sean. Joe setting up for a back take here. Gotta step the left leg over. Okay. Cole wins the hip height battle. Gets the sweep. And so much going on at once here. We'll see how Joe takes the back. Dives that knee in, sags heavy.
That was really good.
Josh
that was a solid back take.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like Josh tried to roll a bit more, like he tried to almost kind of buck Joe off, but Joe was well connected enough to follow through with it.
I mean, you don't really have much of a choice once the person gets that knee, through the hip.
Yeah.
You don't have much of a choice.
Good low single. I like that near side underhook that Joe uses here. As Josh comes up right here.
Yep.
You can really pull someone's elbow post out very effectively with like the near side or bottom side underhook from that position. And it kind of gets forgotten about because the emphasis is always on the top underhook, especially in half guard situations. But the near side one can work very effectively too. And then if you keep it and you get your top side underhook, you work from a double unders position, which transitioning into mount is a beautiful thing to have. Sean laying some heavy shoulder pressure on here. Doing well to climb really high over Cole's body. Gets that knee up in the armpit to prevent the ankle from getting trapped as he steps over in a mount. Looks like he's got, I think, just one of... he might have both of Cole's arms up over his head. Cole doing a little shoulder walking. His own version of a kipping escape that somehow really works for him and not me. And we saw him do that to like Caleb a couple weeks ago, where he just kind of like high leg, like toes to bar, kind of reversed out of a pin position.
Mm-hmm. Now, Cole, when somebody's got you like that, you actually have cross ashi. I don't know if you recognize that you're in that position here, but watch how Sean has now stepped all the way through. Your left leg is completely behind Sean's right knee, and your right leg is behind Sean's right knee, and your left leg is over top of his right hip. This is prime opportunity, and especially you have a very strong grip on that far trap, or even into the armpit. I think you could probably sweep him right over into a cross ashi position right here. Gordon Ryan baits this all the time, or used to bait it when he did leg locks a lot.
Yeah, I think people got wise to it.
Yeah. And then Sean, just be careful when you're starting to knee cut across the hip like that. Be aware that there is potential for getting into that saddle position, cross ashi, whatever you want to call it.
That's that. Good stuff, everyone. Proud of you guys. You guys are getting so good. And the chat was so active today. Love it. Yeah, cool. As always, you guys know anything we talk about here, bring it to class. If you have any questions, we'll tighten up some stuff. I know we talked a lot today about sit-outs and some triangle mechanics and more leg locking stuff, all that. So bring it up to us. We're always more than happy to go over it. Yeah, we will. Are you gonna be up there tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Thursday. Yeah. I'll be there.
Sweet. Mike hasn't been rolling this week, so everybody make sure you get up there and beat the tar out of him.
Yep. Tar, not shit. Sorry.
Thank you guys. Thanks for tuning in as always. Follow us here if you like what we're doing and you haven't followed. Subscribe if you can. Use your Twitch Prime to help support us. You can also support at coffee.com/MOBJJ. Subscribe over at YouTube, where we'll post this up for you guys to look at again if you need to. And then I think we've got competition on March 11th. If any of you are interested, be sure to talk to either us or Luke or Bertram. And then there are other ones coming up too. I know April 1st there are 2. There's one in Morrisville, not Mooresville, but Morrisville. If you guys want to drive out there for a good fight, the submission only tournament, or PBJJF, which is new, smaller tournament, but you know they're trying to grow, so it'd be good to support them if you guys are interested. What else? I think that's it, right?
That's it. Yeah.
All right, good. And congrats again to Joe and Brandon on their recent blue belts.
Congratulations. Yeah.
So,
all deserved.
If you haven't rolled with him yet, be sure to roll with him and roll very, very hard. And yeah, thanks for putting all the emojis to use that I made for you guys. Appreciate it. In any case, we will see you guys very soon. I swear to God, go trim your nails. I've got another one on my neck. I've got 1 million on both of my wrists and my ankles. Trim your nails. Do your laundry and don't be stinky, but trim your GD nails before you come to class. I'll see you guys there. Later.